Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We're playing in the Fall of Oriath in the Harbinger League and 3.0. There's so many names for this new expansion. Or for the new content that just got released. So, between episodes, as I said, I did a little bit of shopping. I also completed the quest to go after the Grand Daddy Crab to get ourselves a bonus skill point. Answered one of the questions I had after the first episode, and that is the question of, can we have more than one Harbinger in an area? And indeed, we can encounter multiple Harbingers in an area. The Grandaddy Crab side area had 2 in total, in fact. Well, so far none of the encounters has been very exciting. But then again, it's still early, so that's okay. We have to do all the trials and things yet again. Of course, because it's a new league, and every new league we do all the trials, and I misjudged this one slightly upside. We can just run through here. You might have noticed that I'm channeling blight. So I figured what would be a useful gem to link our void manipulation with. And, well, blight is a chaos gem. So, for now, we're playing with blight. It's AoE, it's chaos, it's a spell, it's also channeling. But there's quite some resemblances with Dark Pact in regards to all the things we can attach to it. Ooh. Triple blue links. That is useful. So I'm going with blight for now. Seems useful. If we get Firestorm, we might also just attach Firestorm to the spell totem and manually cast the Raging Spirits. That's also an option. So there's a number of options this early on. It really depends on whether we find any decent links and what gems we get in what order and what I feel like playing, since until we get what we really want, we're just gonna fill in the blanks a little bit and just play around. It's always fun to play around a little bit with skills. So a lot of lightning stuff going on here. That's the skeletons here having a lightning arrow. Never really noticed it that much. So it's either new or they did something to the effects to make them stand out a little more. Ooh, more chance. We're getting a decent chunk of those. And a chain belt. That's probably not going to take the place of the heavy belt. So said in the Theorycraft, heavy belt is probably useful for us to help us get the strength we need for some of the strength-based items. That's why I like heavy belts. Alternatively, if you don't get a decent one of these chain belts, it's up to 20 energy shield, so there is value in boosting that a little bit. That said, now we got a decent amount of health here. So I don't think we need a chain belt at this point. We can use those to craft wands of spell damage and things like that. So putting SRS on a totem gives you slightly slower cast speed. So we're not getting as many Raging Spirits as when we would manually cast it. But of course the upside is that we don't have to cast it by hand ourselves. We can just plop down the turret and run away. Or start channeling. Let's see. So we managed to complete the Lord of the Dead. So my next goal is Grave Intentions here. I want to up the minion count as soon as possible. Okay. Heading over this way. You need to be pretty close to hit some things with blight. I mean, after it was first added to the game, I haven't really done much with blight. See, large mana. Oh, we already have one, so I don't care. Admittedly, 3 mana flasks allows you to upgrade it to the next tier, but well. From the looks of it, we're getting a decent chunk of currency already. So I'm not too worried about potentially having to buy some upgrades. And it's literally raining currency. Or these currency shards. Okay, if I were a Brutus, where would I hide? Ah, over there. It's always so nice when you wonder out loud and your question instantly gets answered.
Ignorance brought you here, sister. To the one place where your talents are free to grow
and be truly feared. Well. I must admit, playing through early on in the game, having empty access on, it does feel good. So it's just nice looking at a character that actually has a bit of a consistent feel. Even though we're swapping gear around multiple times per episode, or at least in between episodes. That doesn't matter. Ooh, unbound ailments. Duration of ailments. Non-damaging ailments. Okay, so we don't actually inflict any ailments just yet. So that's not really all that helpful. Okay. Totem there, keep the zombies there, do the channeling here, divide and murder.
You've been my creation, brute. You'd not have fallen so easily.
Only killed one guy. So only one corpse. That's unfortunate. And already getting more items than we can handle, but since town is coming up soon, we might as well just pick up a couple extra things and then drop them off in town. And after this, onwards towards Mervale. Darkly, what do you have for me? Clarity, summon skeleton. Yes, yes, yes. And wither. And flame dash. You have just about everything I want. Which is good. It's always good to get what you want. And a new wand. Not gonna use that. Well, actually we can ID it, of course. Bonus to physical damage. Added fire damage to spells. Might be alright this early on. This one's not really all that great. And this is not a 3-link while this one is, so we'll stick to the old one for now. Okay. Let's see. Don't think we can actually get the added damage because we're channeling this one. Actually, seems like we might be. 7 to 17 fire damage. It does list it. Wow. That is pretty horribly strong. Added damage on blight. I mean, we're casting it 3 times per second, so wasn't expecting that. Let's have a look at the... Let's see, so skeleton, yes, unbound ailment, nope. Freezing projectile, nope. These we'll have a quick look at later. And as always, of course, we're drowning in portals and not in ID scrolls, so let's flip that around a little bit. So, okay. So technically the Raging Spirits were just a placeholder. We should be able to afford ourselves a Wither, yep. So Wither should go on the Spell Totem. Just looking forward to basically getting this setup the way it ought to be. That's always an interesting conflict to have. Are you going to set your gems up in the setup that you eventually want to have it? Or are you going to adapt to just an in-between state and have maybe a little bit of a weird setup and ignore some of the skills that you end up using eventually in order to get something going in the short term? Because in our case, blight is not actually a skill we do want to use. At least we can add a skeletons. The Raging Spirits, we can already put them aside for now. Is there anything else in here? Wither, clarity. Flame dash for movement, but we're out of transmute orbs, so that will have to wait. So let's see what we can do with this. So as Wither now makes things more susceptible to chaos damage. We do deal chaos damage. That doesn't look like we're doing a lot of fire damage here. I suspect the added fire damage is not entirely applying the way I thought it would. Hello there, the Burning Menace. And let's get off of the burning ground. It might hurt quite a bit. And piety is here. Have no fear, piety is here.
This is for your own.
Mm-hmm. Sending me along the detour, of course, that is for my own good. Yeah, right now that Wither Totem, it is probably not doing too much. I think I'll put it on weapon switch. I'll level it along at least. And then use something a little more interesting for in the meantime. Okay. $26, that's better than 23, so that's good. Let's keep going. Fun thing, of course, of Act 1 is that it doesn't really matter what you do. You can mostly play through it. Don't really need a good setup or decent damage output or even synergy between skills. You can really just mess around with whatever you feel like and it will carry you through. Which is nice, since now all you need basically is then just a single skill that does some damage. And enough health to not die, because, well, the blues here, they do some damage. And, oh, the Raging Spears were pretty cool for dealing with mobs like that. Though, of course, I can summon a skeleton. Our current limit, 6. Okay. So we go to the other side, looking for an exit. So far we haven't found any of the new currencies that should have a audible voiceover. I'm looking for it. Oh, there's a Harbinger ahead. Because nothing else creates these pretty blue outlines here. Ooh. And there we are. More loot. Kale shard even. Oh, that's first. At least I think it's a first. And I think I'm more comfy just replacing the cold dress with more life. And let's get some more skeletons up in the air. That gives us a little bit of protection, so we can replace the zombies with ones that actually have full health. Hello there, Ungulath. Putting him closer to the exit seems to make more sense. Wonder if that's intentional or whether it's just a happy coinkydink. Cool. And there is our waypoint. Might as well empty my pockets and grab a Raging Spirits again.
Welcome.
49% spell damage, you say? That's a decent amount to get started with. Oh, well, you can't really get the proper amount of links here just yet, so yeah, maybe. Also, why did I replace that? It's more strength, but this one actually had some life to it. And this early on, I'm not gonna use too many currency items to upgrade my gear. Okay, we had some gems. Raging Spirits, I believe, was slightly more useful than Wither. So, do I have some old items? I do. Let's put it on switch, put the Wither on switch, and it can just level to its heart's content. And then we have a Raging Spirits totem right there. Excellent. Oh, hello Nessa. You're sending me through there. Okay. And that was one off. Graveyard it is. So, book indicates the pirate dude is there. Fair graves. And the arrow supports it. Lovely. On a strongbox. I wonder if Harbingers can also spawn out of strongboxes and things like that. It would be an interesting bonus. Silken Vest, there is an upgrade. It's got some skeletons up in the air. Fire Trap, it's decent for leveling. Pretty decent for leveling even. But we got so many things going on. On the other hand, the traps are kind of drop and forget, aren't they? And if we have an empty socket, then might as well bring it along. Yay, level up. More life to the minions. Eventually that will become useful when we start sacrificing their life. No more life means more stuff to sacrifice. And there's the ship. Good. Okay. Now that we have the skeletons to put down, I can probably take a little bit of a step back in terms of using blight, since I no longer really need it to deal damage. That's most builds. Now eventually you'll settle upon something that's sort of kind of a balance. Try not to overuse your skills too much, not to use too much mana. I must admit, in terms of mana, we're doing pretty well. Having something that we can use at a longer range would definitely help. Blight is it is a short range spell. Doesn't really help too much. Oh, we got threatened though. We can use it. But most likely now in situations where we could use Blight, it's going to be better to just run out and train that as a habit. Water elementals don't leave corpses, one of the unfortunate laws of nature. And there we are. Struggle Charm. Goodbye. Any water skills that they use, they definitely hurt. At least they hurt the minions. I am managing pretty well here. Good. So it's easiest to just run forward, hope to find Lady Merveil's cave, and after that go back to the pirates. Okay, seems like I went slightly in the wrong direction. Need to head over and continue my search in the top left over there. And indeed, we get rewarded with an exit. There you are. Yes. Oh, minions, have I missed playing with you. I just wander all over, kill things. It's always so fun. Loading screen. Usually this should just be gone in a snap. This doesn't bode well. This doesn't bode well at all. Especially since we just got to an area with a waypoint. Oh well, it's launch night. They made a lot of bug fixes and changes and things between the latest betas and the actual launch. There's a boatload of people that want to play the game, so some issues this early can be expected. Right. Let's Alt F for this puppy. And try again. Ah. I haven't fixed the sound issue with multiple cards, and it looks like the servers are down again. So, is this moving ahead? Don't think so. It is. So, they probably had to kick the servers, and yeah, that is gonna be a little awkward. So, what have we done so far? We've played through Act 1, we've encountered a couple of the Harbingers. So far they're not really putting up much of a fight, and the Harbingers themselves they're just like ghosts, just moving through the battlefield, not really being interactable. But they're there, there's some flashy effects going on, and right now there's no real threat going out from it, but I wonder once we make it to slightly more advanced acts and they get more strong monsters at their disposal, I wonder if it's gonna be a different story, if they're gonna be more dangerous. Because of course, no, hello, goodbye, you're dead is not a very nice way to greet people. That's one of the major lessons they learned from Harbinger League. You know, unleashing a Harbinger box with like 40 mobs that will murder a lot of people. Some people enjoy the challenge, others might not. And especially for a lot of new people that might have come in because of the expansion. Having a slightly more gentle league, or at least a slightly more gentle start to the league, is appropriate. So from that perspective, the balance there is definitely on the right side of the difficulty curve. Might be a little too easy, but as I enjoy the challenges of the game, that might be a little bit difficult to gauge. Okay, and we got another loading screen. I have the suspicion that we're not gonna see more of the game tonight. I did everything I could. The moment the server spread down, I started patching, managed to get all patched up and queued up. I was 2805 when we started playing. And I got to play at least for an episode and almost now the full length of an episode. But it's not. But sometimes things are just out of your hands. So for now, I think it's time for me to go to bed, because it is heading pretty close to midnight here. It's pretty close to midnight. So tomorrow or Sunday, I'll resume. I'll release these videos one per day, so by the time you see this, we should be a good nearly 24 hours ahead. And hopefully issues have been sorted out. But of course, if there's even more overwhelming popularity for the game, might be that we get a couple of issues in the first weekend. We'll see, but as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.